Hi, it's Erica and Steve, and we are especially committed right now to focus on the helpers who are popping up like flowers through concrete in these terrible times in Eastern Europe. We have one of those helpers along with us today. Dan Fine and his friend Tana Axtell are packing up and preparing to do what they can for as many pets lost in the chaos of war as possible. They're headed for the border, and Dan took a few minutes to chat with us today. Welcome to Spirit 105.3. Where are you headed exactly, Dan?
Wow. The town is called like Przemysl or something like that. Przemysl. It's a small town. It's the second oldest town in Poland. It's about 14 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, and they're the closest to Ukraine and receiving the most refugees.
What made you decide to do this?
Well, I'm like a lot of people, a big dog and animal lover, right? And you just feel helpless when you watch what's happening over there. And this is one of the worst things I've seen in my life. I'm 63. I didn't see World War II or World War I and very little of the Vietnam War. But when I look at this, it's just heartbreaking. And I was reading about all the animals that are being abandoned, and you think you've got 3 million people that are refugees leaving the country. And unless they're driving, if they're on a train, a plane, or, a bus, they're leaving their pets at the train station or the bus stations or in abandoned animal shelters.
Oh.
And we're talking hundreds of thousands of animals just being left alone. And so that's a crisis. I mean, the humanitarian crisis is, of course, horrible, but this is also a crisis. And, just a quick story is this friend of mine, Tana, gave me a book called The Elephant Whisperer. And it was about a guy that set up an elephant sanctuary in Africa. But during the Iraq War, he and his son went to Baghdad to take care of the animals in the zoo because the same problem was happening. And the animals are super stressed because of the bombing and the rifles, all the noise. So I reached out to the Kiev Zoo, and they had shipped some of the large animals out, and they pretty much have things in hand, like the executive directors there, the veterinarians there, they've got staff there, they've got food. But the animals are stressed. Some of the other zoos in Ukraine are not as lucky. Some of the animals have just been completely abandoned, because the shelling's so bad, people have evacuated. So all these animals are left alone, and it's just horrifying.
Dan, where did your heart for animals come from? Did it start when you were growing up?
Yeah, we had dogs when we grew up, and Irish setter, goofy animals. And then I started after about 20 years of marriage. My wife said, "You can get a dog," and I was like, "Yes." And so I got a dog named Clark Kent, and he was a flat coat retriever. And we trained him up as a therapy dog, and he did reading with Rover, for kids at the library. They'd come and read to him. And he did a lot of therapy work, and he also worked at a shelter called New Beginnings for abused women and children. Now I have a new dog. His name is Kal-El. And if you remember Kal-El,
Yep.
I know your station, Kal-El is actually Hebrew. And El in Hebrew is God, and Kal is messenger of God. And most people don't know this. That was Superman's name on Krypton before he came to Earth.
I remember.
Wow.
Which is actually the story of Moses.
What? Now that I didn't know, Dan.
Yeah, if you think about it, they put him in a little, cradle or capsule and sent him to Earth to save the world.
Wow.
And he was adopted by the parents in Kansas, right? And the writers of Superman were Jewish, and Superman was invented or created to fight the Nazis and Hitler.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
So anyways, my dog Kal-El is also a therapy dog. He works with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and does senior homes and goes to disabled people's homes. And he's just he's sitting here sleeping, and I'm going to miss him so much. Oh,
I bet.
And I told him, I said, please don't get jealous. I'm going to be walking all these dogs, hundreds of dogs.
Is he another flat coat?
He is.
Yeah, we have one.
You have a flat coat, Steve?
I do. Well, she's not purebred, but that's what she mostly is. And she is. I get that she wouldn't really want you walking somebody else.
Yeah.
Pour on the guilt, baby.
So, Dan, you're going to be walking dogs. What other kind of work are you going to be doing on the border?
Yeah, it's going to be really fluid. I talked to the veterinarian yesterday from ADA Foundation, where we're going. They're a no-kill shelter that was set up about 10 years ago, and they're taking on all these animals. So they're running into Ukraine with ambulances, and I'm taking them, some great people. Merle Carner, who's the police commissioner in Linwood, donated his bulletproof vest to us. Binary Anvil bought 3 vests and armor and combat helmets to take with me. So there will be people going into Ukraine, the staff, and bringing these animals back. And then the vets are going to be treating them. And so I'll be assisting in any way, whether it's scooping poop or walking dogs, putting shelters together. They have so many that they're building warehouses to help, accommodate hundreds and hundreds of animals. So anything they need, what I saw is they're working 24/7. And so Tana and I will just take on whatever they need. She's also a very gifted animal handler. She raises Sinai dogs and fosters cats and has been doing that for decades. So whatever they need, we'll help. And if they run out of things to do, there's a huge humanitarian crisis. The train station is shoulder to shoulder with people coming in. So if they need food or shelter or whatever they need, we'll help them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be an amazing trip.
It'll be fascinating. I, usually don't get very stressed out, but I woke up at 4 this morning thinking, okay, what do I got to do? And it is kind of, there's a lot of question marks, and we don't know what we're going to run into, what we're going to see, and we just have to be fluid in the moment and figure out where we can help. Fortunately, Tana found someone that she knows that's over there. And so he's been texting us and kind of giving us, some of the background and how chaotic it is. And he's actually running to Lviv, which is the town that just got bombed. There were 4 missile strikes there. He's been delivering pet food over there.
That is just so selfless and dangerous. Dan, I have to ask you, how does your wife, what about your other family members, your friends, how do they feel about you going?
Well, everyone's supportive. I mean, it is really good job, which is great. And my wife is incredibly supportive. She's a big animal lover as well. And, we're going to miss each other, but, she's been very, very supportive of the whole thing. And she's going to walk Cal out lots for me while I'm gone.
Dan Fine, we hope that you'll give us a call when you get back and share your marvelous adventures. I'm putting you down on my prayer list. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. Be well.